Welcome to the Get Smart with Money podcast. I'm your host, Dana Hernandez, financial planner and author of Get Smart with Money, Break Free from the Struggle, Build Wealth on Your Terms, and Rewrite Your Money Story. Here we talk about money, entrepreneurship, growth, and resilience, because financial freedom is about more than just numbers. Each week, you'll get practical strategies, inspiring stories, and the motivation you need to stress less about money and create more freedom in your life. Let's get smart with money together. Welcome back to the Get Smart with Money podcast. If you've ever felt like you're working in your business instead of on your business, today's episode is for you. I'm joined today by Forrest Derr, a fractional COO and operations expert who helps business owners create better systems, build stronger teams, and scale without burning out. Thank you and welcome, Forrest, to the show.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate the invite.
Yes, of course. So just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get all in this, your family and everything like that.
Yeah. So I have been married for 29 years next month. So I got to make sure I get something good for my wife. I've got one son who is 24 and he has graduated, got a full-time job. So I tell everybody he's mostly off the payroll, not quite 100%, but mostly off the payroll at this point in time. And
Okay.
live in South Alabama and have had almost a 30-year career working in various operations, technology, marketing, sales roles in various organizations, and have really found my niche with helping founders get unstuck in their business. I call it getting them unshackled, because most founders started their business to become free, and they ended up building a prison for themselves. So,
Yes, yeah. But congrats on the wedding anniversary coming up.
yeah, thank you.
And I was just checking out your website. I saw the shackles that were
Yep,
broken as
yep.
your logo. I thought that was a very cool logo. It looks nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
something that came up with, and most of the marketing that I've done has usually come from somebody mentioning something to me, and I'm like, "That's a great idea. I'm going to steal that." So,
Nice. So, what kind of led you to becoming a fractional COO? And maybe you can explain what exactly a fractional COO is.
yeah, that's a good first step because most people don't know what it is. So, a lot of people understand what a fractional CFO is because that's been in the space more long term, and people understand a fractional CFO helping them close their books and make financial decisions. And the fractional COO role really has come about strongly in the last couple of years. I've been doing it officially for about 2.5 years. I was doing the role before I was doing the role, so to speak. And where I've positioned myself is to work with clients, founder-led businesses that are struggling to scale. They're not necessarily, their business is not in trouble. They've just reached an inflection point where the founder just cannot scale without replicating themselves. And so I come in as a second in command to help them build the structure and accountability to free them up so that they can do what they love to do and scale their business. My business model is 1 day a week. And so I work with 3 different clients 1 day a week, one on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, and typically a 6 to 9 month engagement. Sometimes I'll go as long as 12 months with a client.
Okay. So to work with pretty much anybody that wants to hire you, do you sometimes have to pick and choose who you work with? Because what if you're not totally interested in what they're doing?
Yes, so there's definitely some criteria there. People have asked me about industries. Am I focused on a certain industry? And I'm very industry agnostic. So I've worked with construction companies, technology companies, phone companies. I'm working with a manufacturer right now, as well as a disaster recovery business, as well as a construction company. And so what I've found over the years is that everybody's dealing with the same problems. It's people, process, and structure. You've all those 3 things, they're not industry specific. It's really all the same stuff. And how do you get those people organized? How do you get the processes documented and consistent? And how do you get the structure in place for accountability to make sure everybody knows what their job is? So I have been selected. There's definitely some clients that I've turned down, not because I didn't like their industry, but more because I did not feel like they really were at that inflection point where they were ready to make changes in the business.
Okay. Well, what would you say keeps a founder stuck?
one of the big things is admitting that they need help.
Uh,
They think they can do everything. They are independent. They started their business because they didn't want to have a boss, and so they don't want anybody telling them what to do. And so it's hard for a lot of these founders to get that inflection point where they have recognized that they need help. Once they figure that out, then it's just a process of helping them understand what does that look like. How do they let go of things? How do they delegate things in their business? And how do they kind of let go of control? Because a lot of them are control freaks. It's how they got to be as successful as they are.
yeah, I see that. So would you just say that's like the biggest mistake that they make is just kind of not knowing how to delegate and ask for help?
Not knowing how to delegate, not knowing how to ask for help, and then also accepting that people are not going to do it as good as they're going to do it. So I call it the 80% done. If somebody can be delegated to and they can do it 80% as good as you and get the same outcome, it's okay if the spreadsheet doesn't have the same color coding that you have on it. Did it get the information that you need? Did it get you set up to where you can succeed in whatever task that is? And that's a big challenge for founder-led businesses because they've typically started as the only employee, and then they added an employee, and then they added an employee, and then 10 years later, they've got 50 employees. And having them set up for success where they can delegate those things and let people do things for them. They know how to do every job in the business. They know how to do every function, sales, marketing, finance, operations. And so they've just got to let go of things so that they can do what they love to do, which is go out there and build their business.
Sometimes people could do it better than them. They just haven't thought about
Many
that
times.
way to do it. Yeah.
Many times they can do it better than them. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. It's just getting to that point. It's hard to let control go. I get
Yes.
that.
Yep. It really
But
is.
if you want to hire people on, you have to do that. That's what
Yep.
they're there for.
Yep.
So you can a lot of the time hire people on that you like that can do things that you can't do
Hmm.
also. So that helps grow
Yeah,
a
and the other
company.
part of it is documenting how to do things. So, the founders a lot of times they just know how to do it. I'm working with one right now, and he knows how to do everything in the business, but he's had a hard time documenting it so that it can be replicated. So things that he just knows innately because he's been in the business for 20 years, it doesn't make sense to him on why it needs to be documented so that somebody else can do it. They should just know how to do it. But documenting and creating simplified processes is key for them to be able to let go of things.
Yeah, so you're talking about like SOPs.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
SOPs and really core processes. A lot of people that do end up documenting, sometimes they go way too far and they create a 100-page SOP for something that should be like 18 bullet points on one page. And so it's opposite extremes. You got no documentation and then you got way too much documentation, especially with Chat GPT today.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's one simple system or habit that every business owner should have in place?
Man, one habit that I challenge all of my business owners to do is to stop and take time to think. And that sounds so basic, but I promise you, there's so many founders that I come across that they are working, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and they don't stop and take time to think. And the best business leaders in the world, the Warren Buffetts, the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs before he passed away. All those people take time to sit and think. And that has been one of the superpowers that's helped those business leaders be successful. And when I will get a hold of a founder and wrestle them to a coffee shop and get them away from their office and sit them down and put a blank legal pad in front of them and say, I want you to just write things that come to your mind. Just start thinking about your business, thinking about the things that are broken, things about the things that could be better, and just start writing. And the first couple of minutes usually takes a little time for them to get into it. And then after about 45 minutes, when the timer goes off, they've got 7 pages of things written down. And it's mind boggling how many good ideas they've got that they could get out on paper, but if they would just stop and think.
Yeah, none of us really take the time to stop and think, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And journaling is a huge thing. I should be better with that. I haven't
Yep.
journaled in like probably a couple years. So,
Well, it's one of those things where I tell the founders that I work with they need to do it, and then I struggle doing it myself. I mean, it's on my calendar every week on Friday at 9 o'clock, but inevitably it gets bumped so many times. So,
yeah. Um, is so you should never make a decision with a bunch of emotion backed
hmm
by it. Is that something that your clients kind of tend to do, or?
yes. Yeah, yeah, especially founder-led businesses because typically a founder, a visionary, is going to be more emotional than logical, and they're emotional about the product or service, they're emotional about the employees, and so getting them to take time to think about what they're going to do. I've been in founders' offices and they're frustrated about something. They're like, "Let's just fire everybody and start all over again," and I'm like, "No, let's not do that. Let's take a step back. Let's take a deep breath. Let's look at what's going on and let's figure out how to solve this problem logically." And that's really what that fractional COO or a COO, a full-time COO does is it levels out that founder so that it's kind of the on the shoulder telling them, "Hey, don't do that. Hold on a second. Let's think through this, and let's talk through what the options are so that you're not as emotional in front of the people that are working for you."
Hmm. Yeah, it's hard for a lot of people to just take a step back and like wait for a second. You
Yes.
have to sit back and wait, because usually bad decisions are made with emotion triggering that.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I had a I had a founder that the joke in the office was he would shoot first and aim later.
Hmm.
That was his mantra, and so he was just walking around the office and he'd be shooting. So that it is a challenge, especially with founders.
Yeah. How do you kind of break them out of that?
Mm. It's different for everyone. I wish I had if I had a silver bullet, I could write a book and make millions and millions of dollars. But it is spending time with that founder and figuring out what triggers them and figuring out what calms them down, and then using those tools to get them in a good place. So, there's many times that I'll have something that I need to talk to a founder about, and I will read the room and decide whether it's time to bring it up or not, or maybe wait till the next week when I'm meeting with them. So just helping them understand what motivates them, what triggers them, what sets them off, and then working around those things to uh, not manipulate but massage how things flow so that you're hitting them at a good time, but then also slowing them down and pulling them back when they need to be pulled back.
Hmm. Please like, review, share, and subscribe to this podcast, and follow us on Instagram at GetSmartWMoney Podcast, as well as checking out our website at GetSmartWithMoneyPodcast.com.